we when we go to class, we want to make sure that in order to note down the teachings and the learning, to make the review process easier, we want to use a nice, clean, untainted piece of paper. If we use a paper that is already scribbled, filled with text, it is hard not to write properly or difficult to come back to reread and revise what we have just learned. By closing our eyes around 10 to 15 minutes before we start our class, is to clean and wipe away the chaos, pollution that exists within our mind. If there are things and conversation that was left hanging, pollution remained in our mind, that it could nag us, distract us from the keyword, key point, and the narrative of the lesson, restricting you and limiting you in gaining knowledge and wisdom that can possibly change your life, help you overcome obstacle, answer problems. So we see that mindful practice is not something separate from studying, but integral part not only in this session but in every activity. Our mind clear, concentrated, allows the activity to be accomplished easily, smoothly. We can do that by gently bring our mind back to ourselves, holding that awareness of our body, our thoughts, our feeling, our emotion, our object. We can let our mind decide what do they want to be aware of. Allow the mind to settle in like a puppy or a kitten, striving and settling in a place where it's cozy, nice and comfortable. Take a deep breath so that our mind and attention is in the present moment. There's no danger going on. There might be an influx of emotion, of disturbances or things we have to endure. It might seem like we're in trouble, but we are not. We hear just breathing in, breathing out, breathe in and out. There's no problem. There is no problem at all. If the pain doesn't go away, Let's not push it, but just understand that there was a reaction that happened that causes this, and now these are the side effects. But there's no problem. Everything under our control. Our mind with ourselves, our body with ourselves. When we are in control, what is there to worry about? All that's left is just to endure whatever suffering that are expressing itself at this moment. Relax in and out, in and out. It just might be something that shook the mind, scared the mind, but our mind is like a baby, sometimes easily scared, panicked, saddened. Little kids have no filters. If they feel pain, they will cry. If they are sad, you can see it from their face. So our mind is like a little baby expressing fully their expression with innocence. We how do you go and take care of it? Sometimes all that the mother could do is just hold the baby with love, with kindness, never abandoning, just being there. The child will cry in pain, but never for long. Eventually, as the pain will subside, they will calm down and down, and then fall asleep happily with peace and calm under their mom's embrace. Every mind requires us to hold it tight so that when the pain finally subsided, it can rest easy, know that it's safe, that nothing is gonna harm them. Take a deep breath out and relax everything. When you exhale everything, what remains is just suffering that remains. Right? But it's not that bad. Right? It's not that bad. Once our mind settle down, we can gently open up our eyes. Alrighty. Anyone have any questions? Anything anyone want to ask?
Yesterday in the session, I said something that I told you earlier too about um, an answer I gave to Kiara, who said that she was taking care of her like inner child, and I felt like my answer could have been better.
Mm,
And I talked about that the Buddha says that what or is two never one, but it's something that I mixed with the concept of true self instead of like using it as like the voices, the inner nature. So I feel like it wasn't entirely clear, and the question would be like um, both both concepts, both that you're never one but always two by the Buddha, about the natures. I can never hear enough about that one, and the other one too, like about your true self on the inside, always trying to reach you, working towards you. Um, yeah, I feel like I mixed them up together a little bit yesterday.
And on that, I feel like I also just had a question about like the inner child, because then I was like, I know my inner child, I can see my inner child, but then I actually just remembered that I'd written it down. I was like, is your inner child actually like your true self, but you kind of lose your true self almost as like you become older and older because so much pollution and trauma and everything like builds up. So is that like your true self, or is the inner child a part of you, like something that's just inside of you that's like wishing to be healed? So I just thought that was like an interesting like thing as well about like the inner child and what Buddhism believes is the inner child and like what's its purpose and stuff like that. But I do feel like you answered it really well though. When you did answer it, I feel like it was a really good one.
over time, as humans, as we as a society, actually, the act of questioning and investigating about the mind and the truth of a life and being started long, long ago. That's our history, thousands and thousands of years, until one person was able to expound on what he discovered methodically, clearly, profoundly. That person was the Buddha 2,500 years ago. Because of that teaching, understanding, over time as Buddhism expands, In the east, toward the southeast of Asia, their culture, their languages are also adopted, making Thailand and this region quite big as Western quite spiritual or as mind focused. All this time as we are doing this in the Eastern Front, in the Western Front, revolution in medical science and technology in manufacturing happens, allowing people to find the truth in material things, in things that they can see and observe. The Western world are amazing at discovering tangible things that can be observed with the outside five senses. As in the Eastern world are masterclass in expanding upon things that we can't see with our naked eyes. These two things, Eastern and Western front, basically talk about the same thing. The same thing. That's why in this day and age, psychology, medical science start to accept and integrate mindfulness practice and philosophy from the Eastern world to help understand the mind better and better. A collide between these two worlds. One way for them to understand is by making up way of understanding so that it can help people to heal from their mental, from the disease of the mind. That's why all these different theories comes about, different framework from different great minds in the field. One of it also inner child too. Now, what does people from Eastern world have to say about that concept? It's very, very good. Anything and everything that helps bring upon very benefit to people, to help liberate from suffering, find a better life, that is always, always something great and amazing and should be upheld. But of course, with every advancement, we can't stop there, but go further and further, dig deeper, so that we can then help people better. And that's why in Buddhism, even in this class, we use that saying from time to time because it connects with people, especially from the Western world. But actually, there's our mind are reflected on through our speech and action. Baby and kids, they wear their heart and mind on their sleeve. Whatever come up in their mind, even if it's not appropriate, they will call the uncle this word, that word, they'll say this and that. Their mind are displayed fully through their speech and action. That's what we call no filter. To realize what it actually means with no filter. Filtering means that we are mindful enough to hear the thought that comes up, the speech, the word that comes up. That if we're not mindful of, we might say it out. But because we're mindful, we're careful, the words come up first, and we decide to say or not to say. The inner child, going back to inner child, baby, because they wear the mark on their sleeve, it is fully expressed, allowing the mother to see how the baby is feeling and act accordingly. And when tend to, is the mother tending to the body's baby or the baby's mind? Tend to the mind. So when you give comfort to the kid, the crying child, you're tending the mind, the kid. You give it love and warmth. The kid wear the mind on his sleeve, express everything that the mind perceive. The mother tend to the mind. The results, after decision, after a while, the son daughter calmer and calmer. After mind, it is a reflection of the kid's mind itself. And then fall asleep. So we take that concept and then look back inside to, then look at the mind. We call inner child because it's the same way we look at it. It's our inner child crying, it's this or that, the same way. That's why it's a very, very good framework to understand. Regardless, it teaches us one thing that the Buddha always emphasizes is that the mind is not you, you are not the mind. The mind is something that we use to detect, to be known, to be aware of something. You can't participate in any activity if your mind is not yourself. You can't focus because your mind is not yourself. You bring attention, the mind back to the thing that you want to do, only then you can do it. But because it's a sensor, if it detects pain, your mind with pain, you can feel pain. Your mind with happiness, you feel happiness. Your mind with this, you feel that. So when your mind is with sadness, you feel sad. But that's a key word. You feel sad, but you are not sadness. The mind is sad, something like that. So by taking care of inner child, you are what? You are in between the sadness. You are slotting in love and kindness. Slotting in. Flip flop, flip flop, flip flop. The mother or you care for yourself with loving kindness. But at the same time, the pain, the sorrow remain. But flip flop, so far it might feel the same. Negative thought, mood, feeling once arise, full of negative energy. Imagine holding sadness for the rest of your life. Now, hold sadness for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, minute, 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year. The longer you hold, you think the graph of the human health, physical, would it go up or go down? The longer they hold, the lower they go. All because of thought, mood, feeling. A grudge, for example, or negative thought, if hold, give the same outcome. But what we're doing here is that instead of allowing the mind to hold that one thing prolongedly, we are slicing it up back and forth, until the strength of the sadness reduces. Everything have their own strength, their own energy. So when planet arises, they have their own strength, like a battery pack. The sadness will have their own battery inside. It can only run for this far. So if we let it run for the entire course, we don't know how long, maybe a day, an hour, a minute, I'm not sure. But by slotting in that, they are now fighting for the space within your mind. Back and forth, back and forth. They have to expend energy to be in there. it then become a battle of endurance now. Who's gonna last longer? You think care of yourself or the sadness. Eventually, when you pull up good energy because of the good state of mind, it will then deplete and take care of the bad energy and the sadness. Eventually, it will go away. If you don't do anything, it will go away anyway. But this one, you're helping yourself, helping the inner child by starting in making sure that it degrade. Are the one doing the heavy lifting? Not at all. Right? It's the body, the mind have their own system that run to heal itself. It just requires good energy come from positive thought, mood, feeling. That's it. So a split moment, every split moment counts to run that activate that system. And that's what our friend here in the class talk about when she take care of herself. It's a wonderful way of understanding the mind to use as benefit. But at the same time, we find that this knowledge, as relevant and wonderful as it is, it doesn't enable us to build onward. That's why we have to then find a new framework that help us to build it up more and more. It's a wonderful piece, but its capacity of able to build up upon it is limited. So we have to then dig deeper. What is a better way of understanding this so that we can use it and apply it better and then improve upon it better. So there's where inner child come in. This is the first part. Make sense? Okay. All right. Last night, I have a call with my good old friend. She asked me why I never faulted her when she exhibits any of negative behavior, something that is damaging, toxic. Why I was able to not let it bother and also never hold a grudge. And why and I say, why should I fault someone if they are not the person if they're not their real self? If they have become someone else, how can I fault them? We become someone else when we are mad, angry, annoyed, agitated. We don't recognize ourselves. Sometimes you see yourself in the mirror, look yourself in the mirror after that anger session, that last full session, whatever session it is, and you look, who have I become? I don't recognize myself. Your friend, your family don't also recognize you too. Because you are not yourself, you are someone else. Different goal, different emotion, different way of behavior, different everything. Although you might look the same, have the same outer shell or outer body, but you're not the person that I know. Therefore, how can I even fault that you are this person. Not only that, but I know that the person that my good friend and everyone, deep down, is their real self is a good self. And she asked, how do you know? How do you know that? Because sometimes I don't even believe that I'm also a good person. Mm. But she said, but I always want to be a good person. I said, correct. Who who is a bad person? Whoever it is that is a bad person. Do you think if they truly is a bad person, who would think that they want to be a good person? Only good people believe that they want to be a good person. These thought and sentiment alone shows that this is a thought and sentiment of a good person. Anyone, if have a chance, when they are no longer possessed by their anger self, the bad self, if they have a chance, they realize, they say, I want to be better. I want to restart again. I want to try again. Be a better mom, dad, son, daughter, partner, everything. Employee, whatever it is. Want to be good. Even though in their life they might not do an ounce of good, but deep down they don't want to be bad, they want to be good. This is the sentiment, the true evidence that everyone deep down is a good person is the thought. It can only exist if you are the good person. But we are masterminded by thought that is not our own, an emotion that comes up and squeeze us, suffocate, pressure you to say, to speak, to act out, to make, cause a scene, have an attitude, for example, which goes back to what? Goes back to the talk about having a filter. When you have in your mindfulness teach you what thought that comes up by itself should you use, how should you act, how should you behave. You can only decide if you are conscious and mindful. But if that mindfulness goes away, what happens? The filter goes away. Filter is something that protects you, helps you to what the outcome to not make a scene, make problem, bring upon trouble, suffering. If we are free from those filters, our thought, feeling, emotion takes control and then run rampant. So therefore, when we come back to take care of our mind, our inner child, quote unquote inner child, we are embodying a good person, a caring person, a nice person. You are becoming the person that you want to be deep down, a good person, just by doing that. True self in Buddhism talks about the perfect person who possesses the quality the same as the Buddha, one who every day strive to seek for and try to build up their wisdom, seek for knowledge, seek for purity, seek for knowledge that comes with happiness and purity. Seek them out, train them, acquire them, so that as they go on that journey, that path of acquiring knowledge that comes together with happiness and purity, it accumulates and builds up. And then at the end of the road, from having lots of knowledge, they become one with utmost wisdom. Having purity, they become one filled, not only filled with purity, that's why we call utmost purity. And from that happiness, they have compassion to other people, but people can be happy too. And so we see that when we are a kind person, embody that we have a change of view, change of pattern, change of behavior. We become a new person, a good person that we deep down we say we always want to be. And then a mix of good people, they are the good of good people, the good of good people, the best of good, slowly moving towards your best self, your true self. The part about you're always to never one is about the thought that always keep on coming up day in, day out, talking to you as if your own thought in your own voice it seems, but you didn't even make any of it come out. Like what? Like walking with a friend who never quiets. No matter where you go, talk, bring out past information about the past information about what's gonna happen, we call the future. Bring up past memory, past this and that, inviting blah blah blah, like a friend. That's why Buddha said, always two, never one. Talk to that one. Does that help? Is there
Yes. There's just thumbs up from Zoe. I think you might wanna go back to the flip-flopping between when you are knowing. You talked about sadness in the first part, and then you're knowing, and you go back and forth, back and forth. I think maybe one more time.
Have you seen like a when I'm not sure they have, but long ago, I'm not that old, but long ago, there's like a have you have like two pieces of paper and you draw something on both or like two pieces and you just flip back and forth like a bird with the wing up and a bird with the wing down and you flip. It seems like they're flying, right? But actually they're not flying, they're just wing up and wing down, wing up and wing down, but when together it seems like they are flying. That's what we call flipping. One state and a different state, happy and sad, or loving, or sad with loving kindness and warmth, flicking back and forth. So when it seems like they are together, they are as one motion or as simultaneous. It's just like the flipping of the paper. It seems like they're flying, but not. No, it's just two different states, one with wing up, one with wing down. What we are doing here is we don't want red and blue makes purple, correct? I think so, probably. But if you have red and blue and you flip it very, very fastly, anyway, in the battle of endurance, what happened in like a tug of war, for example, what happened if you take a slow-mo picture of the rope at the center? There's like this marker, right, that shows who's the winner. If you take 1,000 shots very quickly throughout the 10 seconds and look at it frame by frame, you see that the red color moves. It might seem that it doesn't move to the naked eye because it's so fast, but if you look at each frame, each microsecond, it moves back and forth. It's because the two side is pulling back and forth all the time, one boop, 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 like this. It seems like it's stagnant, but it's not. Now, that's what we call battle of endurance. It'll be like this back and forth in microsecond, but in our normal second, like it seems stagnant until what? Until one side start to give in. They start to have less endurance, and what happened? The marker moved to one side, moved to one side, moved to one side. It moved to one side because what? Because both sides doesn't give up. But it just so happened that one side have less energy than the other one. That's why the one that have more energy can pull it to their end. Eventually, they'll win as the losing side give in and give up. That's what we call flipping. Does it make sense too? You see the analogy?
Sure.
Okay.
I think just like the first analogy you talked about, the wings, like it seems like they're simultaneously there, and then in the second analogy you talked about them seeming to be stagnant. So
Oh no. Okay. Let me try again. When imagine in your head, from afar you see two teams pulling the same rope under the same piece of rope, and in the middle of that rope you see this red like marker in the middle. As you're watching the game, you see that both sides are neck and neck. The marker doesn't move an inch. You find that. But if you were just to focus on the marker only, zoom in, focus on the marker only, and slow down time by what? By taking bunch of photo very quickly, like slow mo photo. You see that to a naked eye, it seems like stagnant. But to a very refined camera who can see microseconds, the marker moves slowly left and right, left and right. Because the force asserted is not constant, it's always swaying left and right. So you see the marker always moving back and forth, like for all the time. This is what happened. So much so that it seems stagnant. That's why we say, that's why you can feel two at the same time. Both are acting on. If you can only feel one at a time, what happens? The rope just pull to one end. And only this one exists. So that's what happening is the two force kind of like stagnating, making you have to endure a little bit, like a steam that is stale and have to endure in this time. That's why you feel like you're not progressing. Actually, you're progressing because you are the two side going against head butting, but stalemate. But these two sides have limited power. So if one side has to become weakened, what happened? The other side can pull, and then win eventually. So that's why when our mind is struggling, we have to help. We have to be the extra person to end the stalemate. If you don't do it, of course, now the pain will go away anyway. But you are letting it run the course. But if you want to help the inner child, the mind, then you go and with loving kindness take care. You are joining one of the team. Now there is now a imbalance of power. You give your energy. You join the team. So that's why the side that you join have more power. That's why eventually you'll win anyway, as long as you don't quit. Yeah. But will you win right away? No, of course not. It's an endurance run, right? But the effect slowly one by one by one by one. Nah. Does it help?
yes, perfect. Then can you, before you end, can you summarize one more time what you said today?
Today we recap. We touch on topic about how Eastern world and Western world collide, understanding of the mind, how inner child concept came to be, And how is something that we sometimes used to hear. I don't understand why. We find that the mind is the one, the tool that we use to sense. But because babies and child express whatever is on their mind, in their mind, be it thought or feeling or emotion. Now both things, thought comes out from what? From behavior, from speech, from action. So when the thought come in their mind, they do it. When emotion comes in their mind, what happens? They express it, cry or laugh, this or that. No filter. So a baby is a expression of the mind that the mother tend to what? Tend to the baby's body or to the baby's mind. Oh, the baby's mind. So when she tend to the mind, the loving kindness is the wave that she gives. The mind, it takes these loving kindness come from her mother, from this gesture. This gesture then become another player in the tug of war game that the kid is facing. Over time, the pain will go down anyway, so it will go down. But because the mother suits him, it go down faster because you are choosing a side, choosing the side to pull on the ropes. And then the child continue to express their mind. So when the child stop crying, it's because their mind have calmed down, correct? Able to rest. So we take that and we then look back at ourselves the same way. Our mind is crying like an inner child and this and that. So therefore, just do the same concept, the same way. But we often forgot, the Buddha stated that your mind and yourself is two separate. Your mind is the one who knows, but this way of using in psychology is it is good, very good. But at the same time, the structure here have to acknowledge that it is a wonderful antidote way of understanding. But to build up the knowledge of the mind, that way of explaining, find its dead end. So we're talking about the same thing here, but the way we explain it is different. So that's why it means. That's one. The second one, two, not one, talk about the future and how the mind is always coming up, like a friend talking to us nonstop. And that's why two, not one. And lastly, about true self, we talk about how inside of us I want to be a good person. A a a a what a only something this something that only good person, only someone who is good can think of, right? Bad person, if they're really bad to the core, they don't have this kind of thought that I want to be a good person. Those who waste their time every day watching this and that, doing this, do you think if they truly that fully, they also won't have this thought because they don't want to be good? They already but only good people inside deep down, they only have this one. We see that good people, they are good of the good and good of that good and good of that good until the best, from true self. So when we go and take care of inner child, we are becoming the good person that we always want to be. And if we like every skill, the more you put time, effort to learning and practicing, you become better at it. So if you practice to be a good person, to your mind, refer to yourself first, the journey is toward your true self, right? You study piano every day. The journey is to be the best piano player. Given enough time, enough resources spent, you get there anyway. So this too, if you start to practice to be a good person to your mind, to your inner child, that is the end result. Only good person choose to walk on this path. And so therefore, and start being one easily like that. Yes.
So
So we
can I ask then? So like the mind is sort of just like an antidote, or sorry, like the inner child is just like an antidote for like the mind. It's just like another kind of way to call it rather than being like its entire separate being. Like so when you're looking after the mind, you're looking after that like inner child, like protecting that inner child with like goodness, and you're giving it that love and that kindness that it deserves, that your mind deserves. So it's really like not two completely separate things. It's sort of like the same.
oh the reason you know why I said that scientific journal or even dictionary why they are very thorough and precise of what they present in the book or in anything else. The reason they are very precise is because that precision allows it that precision it is so refined it's become pure pure ingredients like vanilla, like wasabi, not the real one. If you put into any dish by a proper chef, it feels amazing. Chef, if they are neck and neck, what will be the deciding factor is the ingredients, the purity of the ingredient. When we study Buddhism and the mind, that purity or that refinement comes into our understanding of the mind and the way we understand and explain it. Because we use that right understanding to build upon it again and again and again. But when we start off with an ingredient that is imperfect, it can never lead to a perfect outcome because the starting point is already imperfect. Doesn't mean that it's bad. Absolutely not. A vanilla, artificial vanilla, is what we eat in in like ice cream every day already. It's good, but the true vanilla is something else. And like olive oil, like wasabi, like this, like that. So therefore, um, we should fake vanilla. We use it when it's come to good use, but we should to make sure that you stand above the rest. We should strive for real vanilla because it will make the difference between. It's what differentiate. What makes the thing pop. Correct. Mm. Through like good quality olive oil, for example, or good quality salt. Yeah. Mm. So yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I have one more question. Okay, well, I really have two. So I
Go ahead.
heard that like the vanilla extract is like the inner child, but the real vanilla is like the mind. And then
Oh,
number two, you were chatting about like the two things like fighting, and only one can be in control. Can I just confirm that that's like the good instinct you're chatting about, and the bad instinct, is that the two things that are like fighting together? Because I didn't realize that. Well, I was thinking about it the other day actually, and I was trying to think about it in my head how like only one can eclipse, and I remember you talking about that in the library, but I never really realized because the good seems so like calm and always uses like logic and things. It's hard to imagine the good like fighting. Like you can see how like the bad would want to fight, but then I don't know, it feels like not counterproductive because I know that one's always trying to be in control, but it feels do try and like kind of visualize it being like fighting with something just seems weird, even though I can understand that it's fighting to get like control and it like needs control, but it's weird to like think about it as like being in battle because it just seems like such a lovely wholesome like pure thing.
mm, the three the three instinct, the three natures always duking it out in the background, like fighting it out. It's just that in any given period of time, there is someone's turn, basically. Like a government, there's always gonna be fighting in the parliament, correct? But there's always been a government in the parliament. It just so happened to be different color, different shirt, different this, different logo, different that. When a good government find it's their time to control the city, the kingdom, they do their best. And because they're in control, everything is good in the kingdom. Doesn't mean there's no riot. There are riots because what the opposition, they have to, they are the force of destruction. They are gonna have to rise up. This side who's not good at bad also not good at bad too. One day, re-election comes, but then the bad side wins. So now when they rule, the kingdom take a nosedive. Doesn't mean that it's all that bad. No, because the good also doing their own program around the kingdom, but they can't do much because what? Because the bad is governing the kingdom. If not good, not bad, then what? The kingdom doesn't grow, but doesn't go down too. Is it like the 100%? No, because there's some pocket in the kingdom that's do good. There's some crime in some pockets. We also find that it's true for our life as well. Now, sometimes life are in general good. Doesn't mean that there's no bad coming in and out. There's always duking out, always duking. Imagine parliament 24/7, just fighting across the aisle, shouting and everything. The question is, how much bad do you have and how much good? If you have a lot of bad, then the benches where the bad people, the side of the parliament where bad sit will be louder and more frequent. If the bad exists but less than the good, the voice of the good will muffle it. The bad won't have that strong of a voice. So when you're facing something that your true self that see you as love you more than your own parents, not see you as their heart and soul. When you're feeling suffering, like every parent who can still think that the one that they love the most is suffering. That's why when suffering comes, what happens? Endurance have to come and support you, because endurance is a tool. Endurance, khanti, khanti dhamma in Buddhism means what means to restrain and endure against something bad, suffering. So when you endure, you're restraining. You want to shout something out, but you're enduring. It's because the good says, no, don't do it. Endure. Why? It's like how we stop our loved one from shouting bad things out. It's because if they shout it out, not only that they create bad energy, but they will go into a fight. What they shout out might be used against them. Suffering, consequences, disaster await them if they shout it out. That's why don't endure. That's why being mindful is the tool of the good. It helps you to endure with yourself, endure. Now you see, even though your life is so bad, but your good doesn't abandon you. It's an endure, it's okay, this and that. But because they are weak, the words of the bad is stronger and more prominent. But there are pockets of good too. So that's why you see, even though lower, weaken in power, but never neglect, never abandon. So therefore, why, if they never abandon us, why should we? Is it right to abandon them? Is it not right to be genuine to them, be faithful, truthful to our good? Meaning what? Knowing that our parents have to clean up after us, look after us, why should we, if we love them, respect them, we shouldn't bring trouble to them? That's why learning about Buddhism and this and that, what is right, what is wrong, help your parent, help your good. Because if it's wrong, If you do it, no, because your parents have to clean up after you. That's why if we love them, we shouldn't. We have to be genuine back to the true self that's genuine to us. Listen to the good, listen to the advice, listen to the teaching that come from your own great wisdom. Help them by being mindful that they become stronger and stronger. People who love their parents, they say that their life right now, in Eastern world, we bow down to our parents because in Buddhism we say that your parents is like a arahat, a Buddha or a enlightened person of the household. Why? They are the one with utmost wisdom. They can answer anything you go ask. They teach you how to be a good person. They have utmost purity, meaning capability, because they help you with everything. And just by helping you, they have compassion, never abandons their child. Push come to shove, they will run in to save their child anyway, looking beyond their life. These are the quality of a true self. That's why kids in Thailand in the past, our tradition, we go to bed, we bow down to the feet of our parents to pay respect. Mm. And therefore, now that we know that our world, we have this life because our parents or our loved one, then we should. Then actually, they don't ask us anything, but we should be a good person. We should have kindness and gratitude back to those who have helped us. So that's why all our parents need is what our goodness, what is good energy, purity. So now we should give everything to the good, to our inner good. Our attention, our time, our energy. This is the most important thing in life. Toward the most important person in your life. So when people ask about what should I do in life and this and that, if you come to temple, they would say there's nothing beyond being genuine to the good and the good system and living life to bring value and benefit to yourself and other people. Other things are just secondary means of living, means to survive in this world. Because it's just a mean to survive, why give important? Be content if the money pays enough, then great. It means that, and the main job is to be in accordance with the good. Mm.
Thank you so much.